Hello everybody and welcome to more political chatter. In this video, we will be talking about the 2022 United States Senate elections with just under a month away until voters across the country will go out and cast their ballots for their next governor and for their next senator, for the next congresspeople, all this stuff. And along with local elections, and it is November 8th, October 8th, and the election day is November 5th. So we just have a bit under a month until we will find out who will control the Senate, who will control the House, and who will win in the gubernatorial elections. So it is really coming down to the wire here. This will be historic. This midterms, as every midterm is, this will be historic. It really is happening in real time, and the election day is almost here. I forget how close election day is, and I really should be covering it more. So let's go through every Senate election. And this will just be an analysis who I think will control the Senate. So as always, let's start with safe Democratic states. Oregon, Ron Wyden will be winning by a safe margin. California, Alex Padilla will be winning by a safe margin. In Hawaii, Democrats will win safe. Tammy Duckworth in Illinois will win safe. Maryland will be safe for Chris Van Hollen. Connecticut will be safe for Richard Blumenthal. New York will be safe for Chuck Schumer. Vermont will be safe for Peter Welch, which will be his first term in office. He is not an incumbent. That is it. We do not need to talk about these races much. I hope we can all agree. Safe Republican seats. John Thune in Alaska. John Hoeven in North Dakota. Who's up in Idaho? Mike Crapo in Idaho. Kansas, Jerry Moran. Oklahoma, James Lankford. Oklahoma Special, Mark Wayne Mullen. Louisiana, John Kennedy. Arkansas, John Boozman. Missouri, Eric Schmidt will win by a safe margin after coming out of that primary. Democrats are pumping money into Kentucky for Charles Booker to beat Rand Paul. Yeah, that's not happening. Rand Paul is popular. His libertarian views really does fit the Kentucky ideology. He'll be winning by a safe margin. We'll get to Iowa. Indiana, who's running? I think Mike Braun is running. Maybe Todd Young, though, but they're winning safe no matter what. Whoever the candidate is. Alabama, Katie Britt. South Carolina, Tim Scott is winning by a safe margin. And then in Iowa, that's a bit more interesting because Chuck Grassley was expected to be winning by a safe margin. But new polls came out that did show a competitive race between him and his Democratic opponent, Al Franken. But I'm just going to come out here and say it. Iowa is going to Grassley by a safe margin. Most think that this will be a likely race. But in my eyes, with Biden being so unpopular in the Rust Belt, in a kind of swing state, I guess, like Iowa, I believe it will be safe for Chuck Grassley. And one last state that I almost forgot. Oh, two more. Alaska will be safe for Lisa Murkowski, of course. And really, I must say, even though I'm a huge fan of Evan McMullen, I gotta say that Mike Lee will win by a safe margin in Utah. The polls that came out that showed a close race, they're really not trustworthy polls. The margin of error can be extremely high in those, local polls. So we have all of the safe states filled in, and that gives the Republicans a slight advantage to 45 seats. Democrats are placed at 44. However, the Democrats only need 50 seats to win the majority because of Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote, the president of the Senate, and the Republicans need 51 for the majority. So now let's go into likely Democratic states. Number one, it will be very close to becoming safe, but Washington will be a likely state for the Democratic Party. Patty Murray here is not quite popular, and Tiffany Smiley is running a pretty good campaign, but it will not be very close. Going to Colorado, Joe O'Dea might be a new kind of Republican, someone who appeals very much to moderates and independents, and there are a whole lot of those in the state of Colorado. And his campaign would be really strong if Michael Bennet wasn't popular. But Michael Bennet is very popular. He was so popular enough that he actually ran for president in the Democratic primary in 2020. An unpopular senator would not run for president. So, I will give this race to Michael Bennet by a likely margin. Going up to New Hampshire, I'm going to switch my rating of lean for Maggie Hassan to likely. This might have been a Biden plus 7 state, and his, of course, Democrats are at a disadvantage this election cycle. But I must say that Maggie Hassan is running a good campaign, and she appeals to a state like New Hampshire. She's making herself look like a moderate. Don Bolduc is not. All Don Bolduc is doing is criticizing Maggie Hassan. He is not making the case that he is an independent, or a moderate, That is what he needs to do, make himself look like a moderate, like Maggie Hassan is doing, because New Hampshire wants a moderate senator, because they are a moderate state. Now let's go into likely Republican states. Nevada, no. Arizona, no. Wisconsin, no. Ohio, no. Actually. Pennsylvania, of course, no. North Carolina, no. But it could be. Certainly could be. Georgia, definitely no. Florida, yes. Marco Rubio will be winning by a likely margin this November. There is no doubt in my mind. He will be winning by about 8 to 10 points. He is very popular here. And Val Demings might be a somewhat okay candidate. But Marco Rubio just has such great name recognition everywhere across the country. He's very well known, and there's no doubt in my mind that he's losing re-election to Sherry Beasley. Okay, so we are left with 7 seats. Could have looked down there, but we're left with 7 seats. The Republicans have 46 seats, so they need 5 more for the majority. And the Democrats have 47 seats, so they only need 3 more seats. Republicans need 5, Democrats need 3. Democrats could win any of these 3 states: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Republicans will need to win 5 of them. So let's get started with lean states. So these are states where the margin will be 1 to 5%. All right. Starting on the Democratic side, I am comfortable moving the state of Georgia into the lean column for Raphael Warnock. After the scandals that have come out, Herschel Walker is done for. I do not see Herschel Walker winning this race. After these scandals, that's going to scare away a lot of independents and moderates. Even some moderate Republicans, I could see going to Raphael Warnock in this election. And, Raphael Warnock just got a huge gain. Herschel Walker came out, paid for his ex-girlfriend's abortion. And, in fact, he encouraged her to have an abortion, I believe. So this is a major change for my predictions, and, it's definitely going to be close to being tilt. But I would give this lean. And that is it, shockingly. Yes, for Democratic lean states. That's right. In my last prediction, I had Pennsylvania lean Democrat, Arizona lean Democrat. I do not anymore. And this is why they call it the October surprise. I think in most states, clearly not Georgia, but all the other states, Republicans have gained in October. But that's why they call it that. So now on to lean Republican states. First, the state of Ohio. I'm going to keep in the lean Republican characterization that I have had it in for probably a month now. Ohio is a state where there was a competitive primary between a lot of electable candidates like Josh Mandel and Mark Gibbons maybe. And Trump came in and endorsed the most unelectable candidate, J.D. Vance, and Ohio Republicans nominated him. And where does that put us? That puts us at a competitive general election that should not have been competitive in the first place. Tim Ryan is running an amazing campaign. Spectacular. The best campaign, the best Senate campaign, I believe, of any candidate in 2022. Yes, I said I believe that he's running the best campaign of any Senate candidate in 2022. That being said, J.D. Vance is not running a good campaign, okay? He just simply isn't. He's not doing the things that he needs to. Kind of have that Trump feel that made Trump win there by 8 points. But that's the thing. Trump did win here by 8 points. So I do have to give this race I have to give this race to J.D. Vance just because of Ohio being Ohio in 2022. The next state is Wisconsin. And I have had, many people think that this one will be very competitive, like Tilt for Ron Johnson. And honestly, I bet in Let's Talk Elections I'm a big fan of him, but I bet in his next video after the debate that occurred on Friday, last night, 2 nights ago, must have been Thursday. But in that debate, Mandela Barnes did very well. So in Let's Talk Elections, his next video, I bet he's going to give this to Barnes. But he did perform very well. I watched the debate live. I watched all of it. And Mandela Barnes surely won that debate. He came across as very intelligent, very smart, like he knows what he's talking about. And I just talked about the Arizona debate also. Or no, the debate was last night. Yeah. I was thinking of Arizona. That was on Thursday. But he came across like he knew what he was talking about. But still, he does not fit Wisconsin. That's the only thing. He's too progressive for Wisconsin. And I really don't see Mandela Barnes having much of a shot at victory. So I'm going to give this race to Ron Johnson. And the state of North Carolina, of course, will be going to Ted Budd. This one will be kind of close to becoming likely. It'll probably be a 4-point win for Ted Budd. The debate was nothing special last night. I only watched a little bit of it. It's not like Sherry Beasley or Ted Budd crushed each other. I wouldn't even really have an opinion on who won. So this race isn't really shaken up by that, and unless there's an October surprise down there, which gives Sherry Beasley a big shot at winning, I don't see it. I see Ted Budd winning his first term in office. So now we are on to tilt states. Let's start with tilt Democratic states. So the Republicans need 2 more seats. The Democrats need 2 more seats. This will be very interesting. So it comes down to Nevada. In Nevada, we have Adam Laxalt versus Catherine Cortez Masto. In Arizona, we have Mark Kelly versus Blake Masters. And in Pennsylvania, we have John Fetterman versus Dr. Oz. So let's start with Nevada. I'm giving this to Adam Laxalt by a tilt margin. Yes, I did. I believe that Catherine Cortez Masto just doesn't have what it takes in a Republican-favored year to win. She is not special enough. She is not independent-minded enough to beat Adam Laxalt in this election. Plus, the Laxalt name is known throughout the state of Nevada. His dad, his grandfather, they were all involved in Nevada politics. And I see Adam Laxalt as someone who is one of the most electable Republican Senate candidates across the board. Blake Masters is a bad candidate. They could have chosen someone so much better. J.D. Vance is a bad candidate. Dr. Oz is a bad candidate. Don Bolduc is a bad candidate. Herschel Walker is a horrible candidate. The only really good candidates that Republicans nominated in contested states for Senate elections are Adam Laxalt in Nevada and Ted Budd in North Carolina. And you could argue no, I'm not going there. So I do believe that Republicans will win in Nevada. So that puts them at 50 seats, the Democrats at 48. The Democrats will need Arizona and Pennsylvania to win control of the Senate. The Republicans just need 1. So it comes down to Arizona and Pennsylvania. I have had Arizona as lean Democratic for a long time, and I still do stand by my prediction that Mark Kelly will win in the state of Arizona. However, I'm narrowing this down to a tilt margin because of the debate that occurred on Thursday. Blake Masters performed far better than Mark Kelly in this debate. It should have been easy for Mark Kelly to debate Blake Masters, as Blake Masters, as an election denier, has made questionable stuff about climate change. He's pro-life. He is very big into the Second Amendment. However, Blake Masters positioned himself as a moderate, might have changed his views, but it worked. Might have lied a little bit about his views, but it 100% worked. He sounded like he knew what he was talking about, and he sounded intelligent. I will narrow this up to a tilt margin because of how extreme Blake Masters is and the ads that Mark Kelly is running, but I still do have to give it to Mark Kelly. So that leaves the state of Pennsylvania as our last state. And this could decide if the Democrats or Republicans will be winning control of the Senate. I've had it for lean Fetterman for a long time. And I think that John Fetterman will win this race in Pennsylvania by a tilt margin. Not a lean margin, by a tilt margin. The October surprise has proved to be true, again, in Pennsylvania specifically. Polls are narrowing up, and John Fetterman doesn't have that cool feel that he did earlier in the campaign. I mean, especially when he's speaking. He is messing up a lot, like badly in speeches. He's not really even making sense in a lot of his speeches and when he speaks. And Dr. Oz is making Pennsylvanians know that a lot in his ads and stuff. His ads might not be the best, but so because of that, I'm giving this race to John Fetterman. I think that John Fetterman, being John Fetterman, will win him this race. If Conor Lamb was the nominee, or Malcolm Kenyatta for the Democrats, I would really see Dr. Oz probably winning this race by a tilt margin. But as with John Fetterman as the nominee, he was a great nominee for Democrats, and I think that he will be able to win. So that puts the Democrats at 50 seats, the Republicans at 50. Therefore, it is still split 50-50, and that means that Kamala Harris, the president of the Senate, will be the tie-breaking vote, and that means the Democrats the majority of the Senate. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Comment video ideas down below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks again.